is Ian, and I'm with Lindsey today here at Kali Yoga Center, and we are here for half pigeon pose, Ekapada Rajakapotasana, which happens to be one of my favorite poses, one of Lindsey's favorite poses. She kind of finagled us into doing this video today because she just wants some more half pigeon in her life, and I was like, yes, let's do it. And specifically, we're going to talk about some different and practice some different ways of doing half pigeon, different versions. And we do half pigeon in class a lot, and these are some of the ways that both Lindsey and I like to play with the pose and address different things that we're feeling in our bodies or ways that we just want to feel like getting creative in that certain practice. So we'll talk you through some of those poses, and you can do them along with us at home. So we'll start in just like traditional half pigeon, resting pigeon as it's often called. So Lindsey's got her right leg forward, her left leg back, and she's resting her chest down on the ground on her elbows. You can just take this one and just take a moment just to slow down the breathing pattern and just notice what you're feeling in your body. Often I feel this in like outer hip, the front of the extended back leg, the hip flexors, and you might be feeling it somewhere different, which is a-okay. There is no right or wrong place to be feeling the pose. And now another way Lindsey can work with half pigeon is walk your hands in underneath your chest, or you can bring them down beside your hips if that's more accessible. And by lifting the chest up here, we're creating some more extension in the front line of the body, the anterior part of the body. So that's extending all the way from Lindsey's back foot up through the front of her back leg. And as she lifts her torso up some more, that creates this extension and expansion on the front of the body. And then from here, we can take a twisting half pigeon variation. So Lindsey's gonna bring her right hand out in front a bit, and then thread the left arm underneath the right, almost like a thread the needle kind of shape that you might be familiar with. And then you can rest the torso down like this and extend the right arm forward as Lindsey's doing. And another way that you can go a little deeper in the posture is to sweep the right arm up and around your body into like a binding position you might be familiar with from like a crescent twist bind. And then from here, she can reach for her bottom heel and kind of pull with this hand on the heel. And then in opposition to this twisting open that her torso's doing, she can roll her outer right hip down toward the ground. And then from that grounding on this right side, there's some more rotating and opening on the other side. And she's pressing into the palm of the left hand. And you can also have the back of the left hand on the ground if that feels better. And then from here, release the bind and bring your hands out in front of you. And you can crawl your hands over to the left side of the mat, off the edge of the mat. And this is creating some more opening along the right side of Lindsey's body. So you've got that same kind of grounding, drawing the right hip back and down, and the extension out through the fingertips. There's a pressing in with the hands, pulling back with the hips, and a general softening as well into the shape. And now king pigeon. So you'll walk your hands forward and lift your chest up again. There are a few ways to get into this one. So Lindsey's gonna ground her right hand out in front at the center of the mat and then sweep the upper arm or the left arm up and back. And she's gonna bend her left knee and reach for the foot. And she's clasping the foot like a dancer's pose kind of grip, holding the inner edge of the foot. And then with that foot, she's gonna press into her hand, creating some resistance there. And from that resistance, roll the front of the left hip forward, creating again that like anterior opening on the body, pulling up and out. And from here, mermaid pose is available as well. So she can hook her left foot in the crook of her left elbow, and then the front hand can come up and around for a bind at the fingers here. And this is creating some big shoulder opening as well as the hip opening as she takes the bind there. And then for some of y'all, it may be possible to get a hold of your foot with both hands, and maybe next class. Awesome. All right, let's make your way onto the other side. If you feel like moving through down dog, that's perfect. Or you can just swing your legs around to switch sides. We'll go through that same little sequence of pigeons, the flock of pigeons. Maybe that's what we'll call this one, flock of pigeons. So we're taking resting pigeon first. And depending on the mobility in your body and where you're feeling the pose, where you want to adjust the positioning, you may bring your front foot and shin a little farther forward. Other times it feels better to have the foot tucked in a little bit closer to the hip. And either way is a-okay. The goal is not a specific shape or like endpoint alignment that you're getting to, but the pose is here to point you to what's happening in your body and using the body as the foundation, the starting point, bring the alignment to your body. So now Lindsey will walk her hands in and lift her chest up and take a few breaths here and just bringing some more awareness to that like front line of the body. You can press into the back foot to awaken that line of energy from the back foot through the front of the leg, the psoas on the front of the right hip opening. And from here, we can do the twisting pigeon. So Lindsey will bring her left hand forward a bit and then thread the right arm underneath the left arm. And for me, it usually works best alignment-wise, and you can see this happening in Lindsey's body too. Her right elbow is pretty close in line with her left knee, and usually that kind of alignment keeps my body like the torso toward true north here from the tailbone through the crown of the head. And then along that center line, around that center line, she can rotate more deeply by taking the binds. So thread the left arm up and around toward the outer right hip. And it might be that the hand stays there at the lower back. That's perfect, or tucks just into the hip crease. Or you might be able to get a hold of your left heel underneath your body. And from that gripping of the left heel, the left shoulder can peel open some more. And then that opposition of the grounding hip and the torso rotating open. And often as you take that bind back there, the left hip kind of wants to swing up, and you can use that grounding of the left hip to work the opposition of the twist. And we'll take the side body stretch variation next. So Lindsey's unbinding, crawl your hands forward and then off to the right side, away from your front knee. And you can make this more active by pressing into your hands and pulling back with your hips, or you can just be more passive in this shape and just allow the working with gravity, surrendering the weight of the pelvis down, softening the upper thoracic spine, just like melting down and out into the shape. And then from here, we'll come up into our King Pigeon Variations. So Lindsey will bring the right hand out in front of the mat at the center, or left hand, and then the right arm can sweep up and around to get a hold of the back foot. And then naturally, similar to dancer's poses, you take the bind, like this right side kind of pulls back. So you can work a little opposition here too. So as Lindsey presses into her back foot, into her hand here, she can draw the right shoulder and the right hip forward to get some more opening on both of those spaces. And then the left hand can reach up to what I like to call yoga journal cover mudra. Perfect. Or you can reach it around the back and take mermaid pose from here. So the foot hooks into the elbow and the hands clasp to create that bind, and then lift the front of the chest and the opposition of the foot kicking into the arm, the chest pulling up, big opening, and maybe you have space to hold the foot, maybe not. Perfect as you are. and release. Awesome. Well, I hope these half pigeon variations, our flock of pigeons, give you some flight in your practice, some creativity, some ways to play with your pigeon, and we'll see you on the mat soon. Thanks for joining us.